do. We recognise, regardless of what people want to say about Arsenal, how tough a game this is. I mean, this is a club with quality players, an outstanding team, and I've got to say, one of the best managers in world football. He always has been, and he always will be. So we're no doubts that it's always a tough afternoon, but it's one we're looking forward to, and we're going there to be positive.
Before getting on to Arsenal, I mean, Stuart's obviously back, and Bolton fans are pleased about that. Can he juggle 2 games in a week?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, he won't train today, and we have to be conscious that he's been out for 6 months since obviously the challenge he received at Manchester United in March, and again, we have to watch we don't give him too much too soon to be detrimental to his recovery. But when you've seen the performance he gave the other night, you know that he's knocking on the door, ready to play. So as I say, he won't train today. We'll have a look at it tomorrow and make a judgment call from there.
But it's a big plus point, isn't it? I mean, bearing in mind how well he played last season.
Absolutely. I mean, I think last season we all know the level Stuart Home played. He was one of the top midfielders in the Barclays Premier League, not just at Bolton Wanderers. And when you've got that type of player available, then obviously that strengthens your team. But again, we have to make sure that we've got him for the duration of the season and not just for 1 or 2 games. So that's what we have to give balance to it and make sure that he plays when he's bang on the 100%.
You mentioned Arsene Wenger. I mean, lots been said about him this season. Obviously, the record kind of speaks for itself. Did you get to know him a little bit better over Jack Wilshere?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always been fortunate that he's always given me a lot of time since I first came across him. And we played an FA Cup tie at Burnley just 2 months after I came to the club, and it was very complimentary about how we lost the game 2-0 that day. I think we went down to 10 men, and. But again, he was very complimentary to us after the game, and I think he recognised that the way we played and how we were trying to do things. And as a young manager, then it was was very pleased and thankful for it. I have to say that. And he's always been very kind and courteous to myself and certainly my teams in the most part since we've come up against each other. But out with that, if I hadn't known him, you'd still look and you say, this is one of the best managers that football's ever had.
And the blueprint that he sets out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, listen, I think I've said before, I'm on record as saying that I love the way Arsenal play. If I wasn't in football and somebody says, who do you like to go and watch, it would be Arsenal, because of the style of play, the players they have, they're dynamic, they're pleasing in the eye, they can be cutting edge, and as I say, and really get at you with pace. And so, for me, certainly, a tremendous role model, the football club and the manager. And I think that's something we all aspire to.
Is the reaction he's got kind of symptomatic of Premier League football, that pressure? I mean, you've had a far more difficult set of fixtures. I think people have kind of understood the predicament that Bolton are in.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got to understand that the Barclays Premier League gets global coverage, and within that, everything comes under scrutiny. And because of the size, obviously, the club that Arsenal are and the success that Arsene's had since he became a manager, then people always want to analyse it and over-analyse it. And I think as managers we all come to expect that, if you're not winning those games, or if you're in a position in the league that people don't think you should be, then you're going to come in for some sort of criticism and everything else. For my own part, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, because I have to remember, I mean, I don't know what it is, 6.5, 7 years, whatever I've been as a manager, people have been very complimentary along the way, because obviously we've did very well. So all of a sudden, if things are said that you don't particularly like, I think you have to give balance to it and recognise people are doing their jobs, they'll have their opinions, and those same people have been very nice to you and kind to you along the way. So the only way to respond to that is to go and try and win games and get back to saying nice things about you again.
But in your mind, you're right, if you had 6 points on the ball, people would be saying nothing. But in the back of your mind, you're sort of saying, let's just get to October, because you have got 2 very hard back-to-backs.
Yeah, we have. We recognise we go to Arsenal, and then obviously we're at home to Chelsea. But as I said before, we have players that can win games regardless of who we're playing in the Barclays Premier League. I certainly have that belief in them, and they showed the other night, the ones that came in and played, that they have that belief in themselves. What we have to do now, as I say, transmit that into the Barclays Premier League on Saturday at Arsenal. And you're right, I mean, I think a lot of people looked and probably felt, well, Bolton's season won't start until October, giving out the first 7 games. They play 5 of what will be the top 6 this season. But we still believe that we could gather points from those games, and that's how we have to treat these next 2 and take it from there. Be really positive, go and get your points and kick on from there.